and some things that should not have been forgotten were lost.
Welcome back, friends, to the Quenta Accords. Today, we're going to be discussing the Valar of Tolkien Legendarium and harmonizing with various gods remembered in Greek mythology. In my last video, I had talked about the Eretar 9, which dwindled to the Eretar 8 after the expulsion of Melkor and his defiance to Eru Ilúvatar. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, when in doubt, always follow your nose. Not only will I be providing alternate names of the Eretar, but I will also be revealing Vána, Irmo, Estë, Vairë, Nessa, and Tulkas to round out the Valar. Manwë is also known as Súlimo. Ulmo is known as Nûron-Ekkaia. Aulë is Mar, Yavanna is Kementári, Mandos is Námo, Nienna is known as Qalmë-Tári-Fúi-Núri, and Oromë is known as Aldaron. While Vána is known as Tári-Laisi, Irmo is Lórien, and Nessa-Lëa-Vinya. From Greek mythology, we'll be discussing Helios, Selene, Nereis, Okeanos, Tartaros, Demeter, Zeus Phyxios, Aklis, Phoebe, Oreithia the mountain nymph, and Adriates. And for the lesser-known Valar, there is Demeter Xanthe, Demeter Thallo-Lousiê, Eros, Elysium, Hestia, Hora, Nessos, Leto, and Telamon Atlas. As opposed to my last video, I'll only be focusing on the Quenya names of the Valar, without providing their Valaran names. This is only to keep my video a reasonable length of time. I'll be giving each Quenya name of the Valar their Greek god equivalent in mythology. And as always, while I'm bridging connections with the Valar to the ancient Greeks, they're represented in other Greek names and other mythologies across our world. The context will come when I release each individual character spotlight of each Valar, which will be in the near future.
History became legend. Legend became myth.
Manwë, the vice-regent of Eru and king of the Valar, Arda, and Aman, has an alternate name where he is called Súlimo. This name means spirited and breather in Quenya. He is also known as Oyalase the Everwhite of Taniqueto, that was the mountain of Manwë and Varda. Súlimo and Oyalase is known as Helios, the titan of the sun and sight in Greek mythology. His name is known as sun, east, day, and sunshine in ancient Greek. Other alternate names associated with him are Tamo the sky to Thaumas the god of sea wonders, and Atan the man to Adanos the titan son of Aranos. No doubt this mysterious Atan and Adanos find their cords to Adam, the first man who had Eve Varda as his wife in the Bible. Varda, the queen of the Valar and stars, has many alternate names, one of which is Sulimi, which is synonymous with Súlimo in that it means spirited and breather in Quenya. Another name and location associated with the Sulimi is the Cylindron of Valinor, which was known as the Moon Cauldron in Quenya. If Súlimo Manwë is a sun represented by Helios in Greek mythology, then Sulimi is without a doubt Selene, the tightness of the moon and Moon Cauldron of Cylindron in Tolkien Legendarium. Other alternate names associated with her are Tintale, the Kindler, the Diônê, the tightness of the Oracle of Dodona, and Elentari, the Star Queen, to Helen of Troy, Queen of Sparta, and spouse to Menelaus Manwë. Ulmo, the King of the Sea and Lord of Waters, has two alternate names. Firstly, he is called Nûron, which is translated in Noldoran and Sindarin to Deep One. Christo, which is Christ anointed in Quenya, and Vairë, meaning sea in Noldoran and Sindarin, also fall in the realm of Nûron, the Old Man of the Sea, Ancient Mariner, and Dweller of the Deep. Oddly enough, there is a god called the Old Man of the Sea in Greek mythology, and his name is Nereis, the god of fish. His name translates to wet one, water, and fish in ancient Greek. He was a master shapeshifter and spoke in prophetic voice, reminding of old Ulmo and his prophecies with the elves and men in the first age of Beleriand. Secondly, Ulmo was also called in his place of residency, the Ekkaia. The Ekkaia means outer sea, far sea, and wide sea in Quenya among the elves, although the Sindar rendered Ekkaia to Gulma and Gwaire, keeping the Ka and G sound. If the Ekkaia is the place where Ulmo or Nûron dwells, and it is deeper than anywhere else on the earth, then we would have to assume this is the ocean, or world ocean. So the Ekkaia is Okeanos, the titan of the great earth-encircling river Okeanos, the source of all the earth's fresh water. Aulë, the maker and smith of the Valar, has an alternate name in place of dwelling among the gods. His name is also Mar, meaning world, earth, dwelling, home, and house in Quenya. So just as Olympos rises above the surface of the earth to provide solid ground, he also came from below as well. This was Tartaros, the stormy pit beneath the foundations of earth that cannot find a reliable translation in ancient Greek. Tartaricus in Latin, however, translates to of the underworld, while tortoise in Latin means twisted, and testudo and testa means shell. With these translations, we are describing a great tortoise, with its shell representing the surface world, and what's living beneath the shell as the underworld. Kind of reminds you of the famous quote, "Turtles all the way down," which comes from the ancient myth that the world is carried on the back of a turtle. Yavanna, the giver of fruits and protector of plants, has an alternate name in that she is called Kementári, the ordainer of harvests. This name comes from Quenya, as Earth Queen. This is her Mother Nature form, in that she is the manifestation of ecosystems atop the turtle's shell. In Greek mythology, Gaia, or Aya Aorda, was constantly conflated with Demeter, so much so that many peoples believe they are one and the same goddess. This assumption would be correct, and Demeter comes to mean Earth Mother, Earth Source, and Earth Origin in ancient Greek. Not only would Aya sound like Arda, but names such as Hirazi and Arud would linguistically translate to Arda as well, and this was Europe, the earthly face of Middle Earth. Mandos, the doomsman of the Valar and keeper of the houses of the dead, has one alternate name in that he is called Námo, the ruler of the dead. This comes from Quenya as judge, ordainer, person, and somebody, and so we can ascertain that Mandos is a place, while Námo is the man, or Mandos is a space, and Námo is the time, doom, and death that fills that space. Phyxios, an epithet and spirit of Zeus, fills the role of Námo and death, and it meant flight, escape, flight from battle, exile, banishment, and escape. However, since Mandos is a Fanturi, a spirit master, I would be doing him a disservice if I didn't mention his other indwelling spirit. This was Nomos, another epithet of Zeus, which meant usage, custom, law, and ordinance. And so we would get Namo Nomos, but also Ve Fantur Phyxios, Ve Phyxios, and Vaya Phyxios as well. Nienna the Tear Lady, who represents the darkness of the Dark Lords of Arda, has three alternate names. The first of which is Qualmetari, which means Agony Queen and Death Mistress in Quenya. Gandalf serves as manifestation of Nienna, as it is through Qualmetari she is called the Lady of Pity, Mourning, and Mercy. Qualmetari is Aklis, a lesser-known goddess who, according to some ancient cosmogonies, is the eternal night and the first created being which existed before chaos Ungoliant. Her name means misted eyes, mist, darkness, and dimness. Her indwelling spirit is Ilios, the spirit of pity, mercy, and compassion. Secondly, Fui is an alternate name of Nienna, where she would be addressed as Fui Nienna. Fui comes from Quenya as night. This is where it gets a bit confusing, as Nyx Nienna is night, and so where does Fui come from? Thinking outside the box, Nyx Nienna may be the feeling and concept of night's darkness, rather than the physical manifestation. So Fui would be Phoebe, the Titaness of bright intellect, who took Koios, Goth, in marriage. So Fui, Fae, Vala, Valinor, and Valimar would all be the physical manifestations of the Fae fairness of the Valar in their natural environments. Her indwelling spirit is Epiphron, the spirit of prudence, care, and thoughtfulness. As it is with Epiphron that the Valar cared for the children of Iluvatar, with the fairness of their natural environments. Thirdly, Nuri is the last alternate name of Nienna, and this would be her cold aspect. Weirdly, it means growl of dogs and grumble. And so investigating further, I have conflated Nuri with the words Prondo, Pron, Proa, and Hruo, which are all words describing a corporal form, flesh, substance of Arda, the body, or bodily form, and trolls. Yes, Hruo is the Quenya word for troll, and you can even see how similar sounding Nuri is a troll. Orathia, the mountain nymph, is Nuri Hroa, and her name means mountain raging, mountain rushing, and mountain storm. Her indwelling spirit is Kaimon, the hour of winter, and it is translated from ancient Greek as winter, frost, cold, storm, tempest, calamity, distress, and suffering. We can only make assumptions that the trolls are corporal beings cut from the mountains, to be used by Morgoth and Sauron's will. The peoples who hold the body more sacred than the Fae soul of the world. This is why they had limited intellect, as opposed to Phoebe's bright intellect. Orome, the huntsman of the Valar, great hunter and great rider, has alternate names in Aldaron and Tauron. Aldaron means of trees in Quenya, while Tauron is forester. In this aspect of Oromë, he would be called the Lord of Forests and Forester by many. Aldaron is known as Adriades in Greek mythology, which means of trees and woods. He or she represented the Dryades, the indwelling nymphs of trees. Whether these were the Ents or elves, I still haven't found out, though I'm leaning towards the Ents, as the elves have a more star association, even though they took care of the trees. Tauron is an epithet of Artemis, in that she was called Taurion, meaning wild bull, and aurochs. The aurochs is a species Oromë took care of, or rather is, for the aurochs was at first wild, the same way that the rider, or gravity, rides the nahar, or wild horse. Vána the Fair is the Vala espoused to Oromë the Great Hunter. Her name means beauty in Quenya, and can be understood as fauna, meaning cloud, veil, raiment, and bright shape of figure, which was used by the Valar to show themselves to the children of Iluvatar. Vanya, Vanyamar, and Arda Vanya, or Arda Unmarred, are the words synonymous with Vána. She is known as Xanthe, an epithet of Demeter-Kementári of Yavanna. Her name means blonde-haired and golden-haired in ancient Greek. This blonde hair being brought down to earth can be surmised as a light that shone down on Arda from the stars and sun. Vána is also called Tári-Laisi, the queen of youth in Quenya. This is Thallo-Lousiê, an epithet of Demeter, also meaning goddess of light, bathing, purifying in Latin. Tuivana, the queen of flowers, and the ever-young, is Thea, another epithet of Demeter, meaning bright goddess. Irmo, the master of desire, is the younger brother of Námo, the ruler of the dead. He is known as Desirer in Quenya, and can be found in the name Rithil Anamo, an alternate name of Mahanaxar, the Ring of Doom, inhabited by the Valar. Transcribing Irmo into Greek mythology was one of the more easy ones, since he was a Feanturi, spirit master. He finds great accordance to Eros, the spirit of love and sexual desire. His fauna form is expressed through eroto, the muse of erotic poetry and mime. Like his older brother, Irmo had a place name, just as Námo was called Mandos, and this was understood as Lórien, the master of dreams, illusions, and visions. Lórien means dreamlands and sleeplands in Quenya, while Fulmer, another name for Lórien, shared this manifestation in that it meant sleep dwelling. This is Hypnos, also meaning sleep, while being the brother of Thanatos. Lórien is found in Greek mythology as Elysian Fields, or Elysium, the islands of the blessed, and Elysian fields of Hades. It was described as the home of the blessed after death, in a place or state of ideal happiness in paradise. Breaking down the word Elysian, we can describe aluo in ancient Greek, meaning stirred, excited, distraught, perplexed, weary, bored, and wander, or perhaps alusunor in Latin, meaning wander in mind, talk idly, prate, and dream. This is where Aloran found his abode in the lands of Valinor. Estë the Gentle, and healer of hurts and weariness, is a Vala spouse of Lórien Elysian. Her name means rest, repose, and peace, and can be called Lórien the Dream Lake, her place of abode, and Lórien. As a spouse of a Feanturi, I will not only reveal her fauna form, but also her indwelling spirit. Estë is Hestia, the virgin goddess of the hearth and home. This can be understood as the hearth of earth, for the earth spins in rotation, therefore being called the healer of the Valar. Her spirit is Arin Pax, and she is a spirit of peace and spring. As Lórien, she is the Nessos-Loike, or Island of White, located within the realm of Elysium. Vairë, the Weaver of Time, is the Vala spouse of Námo Mandos. Her name means weaver and wavy in Quenya, while descended to Sindarin as Gwir. She represented the weaving of memories, history, and lore for the children of Iluvatar. What Greek goddess best expresses memory in the weaving of space-time for the children of Iluvatar? That would be Kirkos of Zodiacos, or the zodiac constellations, the circle of little animals. The 12 constellations that revolved around our Earth served as the first teachings of history and lore for many cultures, the way in which they interpret the stars. Since she was a spouse of a Feanturi, her indwelling spirit found much more significance, and this is Hora, the spirit of the hours. It means portion of time, season, climate, year, time of day, and hour. Nessa the Swift is the Vala spouse of Tulkas. Her name in Quenya means young. Other names of Nessa are Molesta, Heleniatel, and Indus. The Greek mythological equivalent to Nessa is simple, and this was Nessos, the primordial of islands. How do the Valar see islands in the world of Eru-Iluvatar? Well, since the Valar span not just our Earth, but also the universe, an island may be appropriated as a star or planet, an island star amongst the vastness of space. With Melesta, she would be known as Pleone, the Ocean nymph of plenty. As Helen Yatel, she is Aletheia, an epithet of her brother Artemis. And as Indis, the bride, she is known as Ianthe, the Ocean nymph of purple flowers. Nessa is also known as Lavinya, which is translated as behave young in Quenya. It is this manifestation she would be described as the dancer among the Valar. Lavinya is Leto, the tightness of motherhood and demureness, the mother of Apollon and Artemis. Leto, or Lada, is understood as wife in Lycian pre-Greek. Understanding she transformed into the island of Delos gives rise to her manifestation of the lands of Earth, the Leto land. And being the dancer, she can be explained as a continental drift of tectonic plates. And finally, the last Vala, Tulkas the champion. Tulkas the strong rounds out the 14 Valar. Tulkas is understood as firm head, immovable head, steadfast head, and strong head. He also had other names like Nessa, in that he was called Astaldo the Valiant, Ender the Bridegroom, and Poldareia the Landbreaker. Tulkas is Atlas, the Titan bearer of the heavens and teacher of astronomy. Holding the world upon his back is just a representation of him being the electromagnetic field that protects our Earth. He bears the heavens, for electromagnetism protects not just our Earth, but other planets and stars across the universe. He holds the Nessa mass of these objects on his back. As Astaldo and Ender, he is Stenios, an epithet of Zeus, meaning strength, might, and power. And as Poldareia, he is known as Apollon Horios, meaning to loose from boundary, set free from, release from, relieve from. For Apollon had a light aspect and a dark aspect. His light aspect belonged to Poldareia, the protector of the sun. And so that's the Quenta of the Valar and gods of Greek mythology. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, remember that it's turtles all the way down. Down, down, and down, all the way to the like and subscribe buttons.